Hello and welcome to the maiden edition of this show. I'll be your host, Damilola Praiseworth. This is a show to tell the stories of impact being initiated by the Sahara Group Foundation. Sahara Group Foundation is on a mission to building sustainable societies and making a difference, making an impact in our world, and not just in Africa, but in everywhere the Sahara Group operates. It's my pleasure to welcome you once again. Today, on this maiden edition, I would not be doing it alone. I'm privileged to be having with me right here in the studio the Director, Governance and Sustainability and the Sahara Group Foundation with me by the name Ejiro Gray. It's such a pleasure to have you here with us in the studio.
I'm thrilled to be here as well.
All right. Thank you very much. Today is going to be exceptional, so please do not go anywhere. We are going to have several conversations. We're going to have fun, but above all, we're going to have these stories that would spur you also to making a difference in your world. Welcome back to the show. Like I said, it's going to be a thrill discussing on how Sahara Group Foundation is making a difference. And I won't be having this conversation alone, like I said, so we'll just dive right into it. Ejiro Gray, welcome once again to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you.
And you look amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah,
do you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. More specifically, I want to discuss about your role with Sahara Group and also with the Sahara Group Foundation. So do you want to share with our audience what that entails?
So I'm Director for Governance and Sustainability and the Sahara Foundation. Now, the Sahara Foundation is the vehicle through which the Sahara Group gives its social sustainability mandate expression in society, in communities, and generally with people. I came into that role in 2022, March 2022. So it's been over a year since I've been working in that capacity, and it's been quite an interesting journey, making impact, seeing how the work that you do on a day-to-day basis translates into improvements to lives and livelihoods across society.
Wow, that's really exciting to see, because I think a major aspect of work, people want to have this sense of connection, to know that whatever you're doing is touching lives and building sustainable societies. In that regard, I even want to take the conversation further. What are some of these initiatives that are being carried out in different parts of the world through which the Sahara Group Foundation is making a difference?
We have quite a number of initiatives, and I'll touch on a few that I'm particularly proud of. One is the Sahara Impact Fund. What we did with the Sahara Impact Fund was we wanted to find a platform and a way to bring the social innovation of young Africans to the fore. What you find is we have quite a number of creative Africans across the continent who are interested in building sustainable societies. They're interested in making a difference. They recognize the challenges that are peculiar to the African society, and being African themselves, they understand what the solutions are. And so they start out on a modular basis to build these solutions, and then they get to a stage where resources such as funding and even the other expertise that they require to run a social enterprise or any business at all starts to affect or sort of limit them. And so what we found is we had to intervene at that point and say, for those of you who have this passion, who clearly are sincere and intentional about making a difference, bring your ideas. Let's come together into a room. Let's bring our own specialists. And that's what we call the entrepreneurship model. Wow. What that is we're bringing people who have the ideas and bringing others who have resources and sort of creating a meeting point for them to then start to share those ideas and work on building them so that they can scale up their businesses and the social enterprise to create more impactful solutions for Africa as a continent.
That is amazing to hear, because a major challenge we find in the ecosystem like Africa is the resource to really power some of these ideas. And I'm very sure you have a ton of stories about people who have had impact through this.
We do. So, it's not even just the Sahara Impact Fund. Now, let's start from the younger generation under the STEAMers program. So we work with a firm called STEM Cafe. And what we do is we're trying to build creative confidence in young Africans. So starting from secondary school age. So they start to explore science, explore coding and all of that. And then based on that knowledge and that playtime in which they're allowed to explore their creativity, they come up with solutions also for problems. So from there, you see that the thinking has to start from that stage, from when they're young. They start to think about how can we make things better? How can we be problem solvers? How can we be solution providers? And then by the time they get to that age where they're able to set up businesses, you find that the mindset has changed, the thinking has changed. With the Sahara Impact Fund, there are quite a number of stories that I found very interesting, and I'll tell you about one or two of them. There's a young man called Lazarus. He's been one of the beneficiaries of the Impact Fund, so he participated in one of the past cohorts. Lazarus's mother passed away from lung cancer. And of course, as a young man, he found it rather curious. He's Zambian, by the way. He found it rather curious that his mom was not a smoker. And he wondered what else could have made her susceptible to the condition. And then he realized it was the years of cooking with biomass fuel, firewood, that had affected her health over a period of time. Exactly. And so he set out on a mission to provide solutions for clean cooking. So he started doing the whole renewable energy cooking, clean cooking stoves. So that is the business venture he has taken on. And he's doing quite well in it. And coming onto the program, of course, we also now equipped him with the skills, with the knowledge that he needs to be able to scale that business. So when you think of how people take tragedy, personal tragedy and situations, and they say, you know what, because of this thing that happened to me, I don't want it to happen to the next person, so I need to do something about it. That is the kind of thinking we're trying to encourage in Africa. Take your circumstances, however dire they may be, and try to provide solutions. Try to make it better for the next generation. And that's what the likes of Lazarus is doing. And we're very proud of stories like that. We have quite a number of them, but I'll just touch on Lazarus for this particular instance, because that's one person I'm particularly proud of. When I heard his story, I was personally inspired by it. That yes, this is what it is to make a difference. And that's in line with our philosophy as Sahara. We're constantly looking for opportunities to make a difference.
This is truly inspiring for me as a person hearing this story, because you could think about it as a person would have a tragedy in their life and almost say, okay, because of this tragedy, I'm just going to keep going down.
Yes.
But it was literally turning pain into power.
Absolutely. Yeah. I like that. Turning pain into power.
And we're bringing energy to
life responsibly.
So that's what we do at Sahara Group, and by extension, the Sahara Group Foundation. Okay, well, we've had an exciting conversation already around this aspect of making a difference. But I just want to know, if you want to tell our audience, what does the future look like with the Sahara Group Foundation? What are you looking to do? This is a long journey of sustainability, making a difference, like we've said, and we've spoken about what is happening now, but what does the future look like?
In one sentence, the future is green. The future is green because we're even more passionate and more resolute now about taking the sustainability drive and building sustainable societies to the next level. Like I'd mentioned, we have quite a number of initiatives beyond the Sahara Impact Fund, the Steamers program. We also have the program where we're bringing clean energy and building sustainable societies through the renovation of police stations. We're starting with Nigeria. You find that sometimes you need to take the most neglected aspects of society and of the way we run things, the way things, the day-to-day operations, the things that make society work. What you find is with the police force, they're the most critical, probably one of the most critical, because that's law enforcement that has to do with security. You can't have a truly sustainable environment or a truly sustainable society without security, without law and order. And so it's important that you are assisting these people that have been entrusted with that task. It's important that you are also creating a conducive environment for them to actually thrive and excel at what they do. The environment in which you find yourself, by human nature, has a tendency to condition your mindset. So it's important that if we're expecting that law enforcement should carry out the role and the mandate which has been entrusted to them properly, their mindset must also be in the right place. Their thinking, their heads must be in the right space. And it starts with the little things like the environment in which they find themselves. And that was why we took that as a niche to say, you know what, we need to address this issue in Nigeria. We can't leave everything to the public sector. The private sector needs to come in at some point. And so we started that initiative, and it's going on very well. And we hope to do much more. And, if possible, take that beyond Nigeria as well. Of course, we have our Go Recycling Hub. We're basically, like you said, turning pain into power. Now we're turning trash into money.
Wow.
And what we're doing is starting with Lagos State. We're going across local government areas, of course, in partnership with recyclers, the LSCTF, and what we're basically doing is we're going to low-income communities where there's a proliferation of plastic waste, setting up recycle hubs there. People then bring their trash, their recyclable trash, in exchange for some money. We've also seen stories, success stories, where people are able to use that, women especially, because you find that with situations such as poverty and all of that, women tend to be most affected. And these women have been able to take this initiative and use it to do something better. Some have set up businesses for themselves, use it to equip their businesses. So for instance, there's a salon owner who was able to use the proceeds from recycling to set up a beauty salon. Some have used it to pay school fees, support the family in different ways. So that's what I'm saying when we talk about impact. It's about, we are taking what people take for granted. So plastic waste, we're bringing it to our consciousness. It's an environmental problem. However, it can be an economic solution. So that's what we're doing with, with things like that. So the future is green. There's a lot more that will come from that, and with other projects also in the pipeline. And I'm pretty excited to see how it all unfolds. And truly definitely inspiring. We're here for it, and you're here for it.
Truly inspiring, truly exciting, and I'm sure our audience will agree as well that it's been an exciting conversation so far. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be back. We've been having conversations on how we can make a difference and build sustainable societies. I remain your host, Damilola Fraser. Welcome back to the show. You would agree with me that it has been an exciting and inspiring conversation so far. Well, to wrap up the show, we want to take it on a more personal note and just speak about something we'd like to tag thorns to roses. So, Ejiro, the question is simple. We've spoken about how people have used negative situations in their life to bring about positive outcomes that have changed the society. But on a more personal note, what is something that was a thorn, which you would say has eventually become a rose? Something which was sort of negative that had a positive outcome at the end of the day in your life?
Okay, I think a few years ago, say 2016, I suffered a personal loss. I lost my brother.
Wow, so sorry about that.
Thank you. And for about 2 years after that, I couldn't do any writing. Before this incident, I had a habit of writing every single day. I would write something, no matter how little, but I'll do some writing. It was just my way of, just getting the juices flowing. But after he passed, I think I was so struck by the suddenness of it all, and because that was the first time that death was coming so close. And coincidentally, he loved writing as well. Yes, so I had always seen him as the one with the gift. And I think it just knocked the sails out of me, and for 2 years I couldn't do anything. I would try, I would sit in front of my laptop and it just wouldn't flow. And I later came to realize that was just my own way of mourning him and grieving, the loss. But then I had a rethink. About 2 years into that, I started to think, if he were here, or if he could see me, what would he want me to do? The good of other people, And that sort of then spurred me to take it up again. It wasn't easy, but I realized sometimes you have to move beyond your mood or your feelings in order to do something. If you rely on your mood and your feelings, you won't get anything done, because feelings are transient. And at that time, I had an ongoing project, a writing project. And that kind of inspired me to then take it more seriously and finish it once and for all. So I did that. By 2020, with COVID and all, I was able to focus on that, and I did it. I finished it. And of course, it led to many others that are still in the pipeline, but yes. So though it started out as a negative situation, you still need to pursue them regardless.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
I'm truly inspired, and my audience, our audience, you would agree with me that it's been an exciting and beautiful conversation, an inspiring one. And if there's anything you could learn from this, is go out there and take those situations that seem negative and see how they can impact your society positively. Well, at this point, we've come to the end of this episode of the show, where we're discussing about the Sahara Group Foundation, our commitment to making a difference and building sustainable societies. I remain your host, Damilola Praiseworth, and until next time, stay making a difference. Bye-bye.